I have with me first Kiran Bedi, former governor of Puducherry, one of India's most leading and respected police officers. Ms. Kiran Bedi, before I come to this love jihad angle, which is the focus of this section, whether this is a case of love jihad or not, we've seen these ghastly cases of crimes against women. You've seen the Shraddha case, her body chopped into 35 pieces. Lucknow, Nidhi pushed to death. Jabalpur, where Shilpa's throat is cut by her so-called lover. Siliguri, where Riya is murdered by her boyfriend. Aurangabad, where a girl is molested by an auto driver, had to jump out and had to be admitted in the ICU of a hospital. Now, it can't just be that these stories are being reported now. I mean, the incidents are becoming more frequent and more ghastly in my view. What do you think, Ms. Bedi?
Arnab, I believe we haven't really understood the gravity of the problem. We do not know the extent of the problem. We do not know the variety of the problem. We do not know which state is the most vulnerable. We do not know why women are not using Domestic Violence Act. We have no research. How has Domestic Violence Act functioned? I have been suggesting that we do a security audit, a social security audit of the prevalence of domestic violence in India. And it's prevalent, I believe, hugely, but it's grossly underreported. So only FIRs and how many cases by the NCRB is not an indication. We need to do a social audit, state-wise, district-wise, on all parameters, pattern of violence, and inside the violence. Remember, this does not exclude violence by women on women. I'm not excluding that either. I'm talking about family violence, domestic violence, where the woman is the victim. Whether the man has victimized her or a woman has victimized her, let it surface. We are all talk generically. We need to become more specific so that once we know specific answers, we know a disease, we know a problem, automatically treatment will come, solutions will come, strategies will come, policies will come, resources will come, systems will come, infrastructure will come. But we have never understood. I think we're shying away from understanding the problem. It is gross. Any man who's an alcoholic, I've done fortunately my doctorate is on domestic violence and drug abuse relationship. 94% are reporting domestic violence wherever the man has drug abuse problem or is an alcoholic, 94%. And where only 4% research established reports to the police. So the point is NCRB record is just an information. But I think if you really want to handle this problem, which is prevailing for years and years, is to know the extent, the gravity, pattern, area-wise, geographically, etc. Northeast pattern may be different. North may be different. West may be different. We do not know. Do you and I know? We don't know. What is Punjab pattern?
But why are women trapped in these violent and toxic relationships? In my last debate, one of Shraddha's friends said that they actually had confronted this fellow Aftab and warned him to stop the violence. And at some point of time, Aftab, who was now in jail for chopping Shraddha into 35 pieces, threatened to commit suicide if Shraddha's friends put pressure on him. And Shraddha, according to her friends, did not want matters to escalate. What does this tell you about the kind of situations that young women, who are otherwise very vocal, they're on social media, they're on Instagram, they speak up, they participate in protests, but in their private life, they're in very, very violent and toxic relationships. Why is that? Why does that happen?
I think the high emotional dependence. I think they're not emotionally matured. Very heavy emotional dependence because of the kind of grooming they get, the way they educate themselves or the way they are educated, whether at home or otherwise. I think it's an emotional dependence, not the urge to be self-reliant, not the spirit of self-confidence, not learn to be bold and courageous. Once you don't learn this at the very early ages, you're emotionally dependent. And others blackmail you on your emotional dependence. On your economic dependence, you're blackmailed. And on your emotional dependence, you're blackmailed. Neither should women be economically dependent to be victim of domestic violence, or be emotionally dependent and blackmailed like this, that you are the only one left. The point is, third is self-dignity, self-respect. Unless the woman is inculcated self-respect and self-confidence when she's growing up, she's giving it, so she's surrendering, because now he is the only resource. He's the only pillar. He is the only destination. He is the only anchor. Now why? Why? So I think that's a learning where women have to grow up. We are not grooming our women to become self-reliant, self-dependent, emotionally self-reliant also. You can have friends, you can consult, but you don't have to be dependent. You're not to be surrendering and enslaved. You can consult, you can...
What do you make of this love jihad angle, which has come up in, especially the case of Nidhi Gupta, where the family, which is protesting with the body on the streets, was alleging that this is a case of love jihad?
Arnab, I don't know the details of this case. I only just had a glimpse of it. I don't know the details. I'm only now talking about the pattern of domestic violence.
Yes.
Fortunately, I've researched in this subject. And I must tell you the Domestic Violence Act is on the periphery. It's not a part of the training, the grooming, and we're not preparing our girls for relationships. We're not preparing them for the realities of life, which will come.
I think it's very important for families also to do more than just make their children educated, but also more self-aware and also more confident and also more assertive, not to get trapped in these relationships. So, I think always the best support mechanism is within oneself, not just of the family, where you're confident that you do not need to get trapped in this kind of a violent relationship. You'd rather exit the relationship than suffer any more for it.
But Arnab, we need social systems. If the woman wants to exit, she must have a parents' home open. She must have a place to go to. If the parents' home is not open, then is there an institutional system available? So I think we need to put systems also in place. Maybe an insurance scheme, maybe a social security scheme for women. I think we need to find some solutions. Otherwise, I tell you, this is a very large extent of violence which is under the carpet. It will be very embarrassing for us as a country. I believe it will be very embarrassing if we do a social survey and rate the states as it is. We will be embarrassed.
Because, the irony tonight is this, that I have with me, we're talking to Kiran Bedi, who is not just a stellar IPS officer, she's been a role model for women. She's been defiant and she has led her own path in life. And we are a country that is aiming at being a superpower, but if we don't sort these things out in our social base, I think we're risking something. Well, I thank you, and maybe we'll talk more, Kiran Bedi, on how we can put a focus on what you're calling as a social audit, and also maybe, if required, a change in the law enforcement mechanism. So I'll take you up on that. We'll make this a campaign, Kiran Bedi. I think we should. I think we owe it.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
So I'm going to take you up on this, Kiran Bedi.
Thank you, Raj.
We'll do it. Thank you so much. Privilege.